Well, hi, this is Burns Hargis for another edition of Inside OSU. We're in the beautiful West Watkins Center with a very special guest indeed. If you watched the Winter Olympics from Vancouver this past winter, this name will be very familiar to you, as will the face. He kind of was the marquee athlete at the Olympics for 2010 in Vancouver, Mr. Apolo Ohno. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Delighted to have you in Stillwater.
Thank you. Thank you.
Has it just been a whirlwind since the Olympics?
That's an understatement. I think it's been insanity from a travel schedule perspective.
Oh, I bet.
I have been home for maybe like a day, 2 days, but I've really been just traveling like mad.
So, you were raised in Seattle, right?
Yep.
And when did you take up skating?
I saw short track and was really interested in 1992 and then 1994. That's when I said to my dad, I want to try the sport out. It looks fun. And that's literally, there was nothing out. My father wasn't a skater. My grandfather wasn't a skater. I mean, athletics.
Did you play, were you an athlete?
I was a very energetic kid. I was very much into swimming as a younger kid.
I've read a little bit. You were like 12, right?
Yeah, 12, yeah. But I had aspirations of possibly going on to do, collegiate level swimming and possibly Olympic game level swimming, but it didn't work out. And short track speed skating was a sport that I saw on TV. I was like, that looks like a cool sport. I want to try it. And literally, within about 6 months of training for the sport, I started skating when I was 12, but within 6 months of training for the sport, I had made my first world team. And not only did I make my first world team, I had actually won the trials. And this is not a typical junior program. This was for all the athletes in the United States.
So you decided you had a little aptitude for this, apparently.
I had a lot of raw talent. What I didn't know was how to harness that raw talent, couple it with hard work, determination, and structure a program so that I could go from something that had spark to a full-on, I can grow into becoming a very, very good athlete for a long time.
It looks so chaotic.
It is.
It looks it looks like, and you see someone cut in front of somebody else and get bumped,
Sure.
and just that whole thing, and it's such a small area. It must require a lot of strategy. I mean, you got to anticipate that this guy's going to try to hit me out.
You have to have a lot of patience. Strategy plays a huge role. A lot of times in my sport, it's not about the fastest or the strongest guy who wins the race. Although those are two attributes that are very, very important. Strategy is the most important thing, and if you can position yourself in the right place at the right time, you're going to be able to have some great results.
Let's go back. You were in Seattle, took it up at age 12. It was the first time you ever had a pair of skates on?
I did inline skating, things like that, but the first time I was ever on the ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the time you were 14, you'd won the national championship, hadn't you?
Yes. World team trials, yeah.
And so take us from there to your first Olympics.
When I was 14, I had went back home to Seattle and spent some time there, didn't train, didn't really know what I was doing in the off season. So I had tried out for the 1998 Olympic team and went from first in the nation, the year prior, to being last place, like that.
Wow, what happened?
It was a lack of determination, lack of focus, lack of hard work, lack of work ethic, and ultimately, I just didn't want it. I just didn't want to do well. Looking back, I probably could have made that Winter Olympic team if I had just trained for 2-3 weeks. I had that type of raw talent. I didn't want it. My father basically gave me an ultimatum. He said, look, Apollo, I don't care if you don't want to become a Winter Olympic athlete. I don't care if you don't want to do sports. What I care about is you didn't try your best. You didn't give 100%. You didn't prepare like you wanted to. So now you have all these ifs in your life. I don't want you to live with those ifs. If I had prepared all year long and not made the team, he would have been happy. But because he saw the lack of work ethic and discipline, he was very unhappy with that. So he basically sent me to a cabin.
It's applicable to life.
Towards
everything
life, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what he was unhappy with. I think he was trying to teach me these life lessons at a very young age. He sent me to this cabin on the west coast of Seattle, west of Seattle. A very remote place called Moat Cliffs, Copalis Beach area. I was there for about 9 days. I started aimlessly training, asking questions in my head, creating dialogue within my brain. When you spend a lot of time in one place as a kid, you have no choice but to create this type of dialogue within yourself. So I was just basically talking to myself a lot and asking myself a lot of questions. What do I want to do? What do I need to do? For me, it was essentially a life-changing experience at the age of 15.
So we're 15. We've had this this moment out out in the outback, and used to come back presumably ready to train. That you're gonna make this your passion.
Make this my passion.
And so take us. So then, did you work your way to your first Olympics?
I did. My first Olympic experience was in 2002 at the Salt Lake City Olympic Games. The prior year to that, 2001, I had won every single race that you could possibly enter, which was it never happened anywhere from any athlete in the world before, let alone an American athlete.
So how'd you do in those Olympics?
I did very well. I won a gold in the 1500 meter. I won a silver in the 1000 meter. And it was.
And how old were you?
This is about 19.
19 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was 2000.
That was in 2002.
Two.
Yeah. 2006 Olympic Games in Torino, Italy. I came as a much more mature athlete, even more hungry. I feel like I had something to prove almost because of my past Olympic experiences, my past races. I came out of those Olympic Games with 3 more medals, 2 bronze and a gold.
And then you headed back to Vancouver. What were your goals?
Well, at post 2006, I had taken about a year off from the sport. I was not sure if I wanted to continue to compete. I had 5 medals at the time. I was tied with the most Winter Olympic medals out of any male athlete ever from the United States. And I was very content with my career. I was very happy with where I was at
I would
in
think
my
so.
life. This show approached me on TV called Dancing with the Stars. They had asked me if I wanted to.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah,
But okay, go with it.
They had asked me if I wanted to participate in the show. The first thing I said was, "There's no way I am going to do this show."
Are you a good dancer? Were you a good dancer?
I don't care if you're the best dancer in the nightclub. You go and do that show, it will humble you.
Okay, well,
so
tell
I
us
thought I
about
was
it.
a good dancer, and I wasn't. Okay, but I wasn't. So I actually had done the show. It was a fantastic experience. It was amazing.
Well, take us through. I mean, what happened?
So they teamed me up with this girl who's 18. She was 18 years old at the time. She was actually from Salt Lake City. I call her the blonde superstar. Just total like spunk of energy, a lot of fun, and essentially we just started to try and train for the show.
So how much do you train?
It's however much you'd like to train.
What did you do?
I was 12 hours a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Same old deal.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, just different.
And for how long?
About 15 weeks. Out of all those reality shows on TV, this one is definitely the hardest.
And you won it.
And I won the show. Yeah.
So then you make your way to Vancouver. And what were your goals at Vancouver?
I wanted to go out and end my career possibly with having the best Winter Olympic Games of all time for myself.
So how did Vancouver go?
It was
From
the best.
your perspective?
It was the best games of my life.
Why was that?
Hands down. I think I was more prepared than I had ever been for anything.
More mature.
More mature. I was content, believe it or not, before the Olympic Games had even started. The day that I arrived in Vancouver, I was smiling because I knew that I had absolutely 0 regrets in my life up to that point. And to reach that at age 27, for me was a huge feat.
Well, everybody loved it, and everybody loved you, and loved the competition, and it was incredible. And
Thank you.
And so now the $64,000 question, which used to be a lot of money, is you can do it again.
Well, I'll tell you this: the next Winter Olympic Games are in Sochi, Russia, in 2014. I will definitely be there.
As a competitor?
Whether I have my skates or I have a microphone in my hand, that's the real question.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. Yeah, I mean, I have some time off. There's a lot of other things that I want to focus on.
Well, one thing you're doing is you're visiting college campuses.
Yes.
I know that because you're here.
Yes.
What's the message?
0 regrets, not only in sport, but in how you approach life, how you approach business, how you approach your relationships, school, the transitioning point for a lot of these students who are now going on to apply what they've learned here at this school towards everyday life, how to further educate themselves in the game that we call life.
We really appreciate you joining us, Apolo.
Thank you.
And good luck in everything you do. I'll look forward to seeing you in the movies.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.